Welcome everyone back to another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. My name is DFree. Here today we have another discussion video. I know, it's, you know what? My funny thing about discussions is I'm actually really enjoying doing these. I'm starting to really love these again. It's been a while since I've been doing these. But every time I do one, they get just like mass disliked. It's like, oh, I thought this was actually happening. Like the last one I did was my ideas on, what was it, Join Forces LR? And it says in the thumbnail, character ideas. The title says, make my dreams come true. And somehow people still think. I don't know, man. I don't know. But I'm going to keep pumping these out because I'm enjoying them. Anyways, hope you guys enjoy. Hit the subscribe if you're new. Today's video, we're talking about the Shattering the Limit / Rebirth units. And I'm going to name some of the cards that I would like to see get a rebirth. Or not rebirth, excuse me. In before double rebirths, right? Anyways, the ones I would like to see get a Extreme Z Awaken. Couple of caveats. So I have been playing this game basically since it came out. So I've been playing over 4 years now, basically. So I have seen the rise and the falls, quite literally, of literally every unit on this list. Like the viability, like for example, this STR Raleigh was still pretty solid, I'd say, not able to be picked up. Once upon a time was the best card you can take into the World Tournament to go ahead and farm, basically. Once upon a time. I believe that was right before, but well, I guess JP is a little bit different because of the timeline, and then Global First, Broly, yada yada. So just, it's not the same thing between both versions. Anyways, so I have stories for all of these units. Now, the reason why I meant that is because it's really easy for me to kind of look at these cards and say, okay, in most cases, these are sorted by release date, right? I can say, okay, well, let me take the original 1 or 2 or 3 batches of cards and give them Rebirth or EZAs, right? Because they're obviously the oldest ones, meaning that they're the most power-corrupt versions in most cases. With the rare exception of Piccolo, who's actually aged quite well. Was way ahead of its time for that passive. Still needs a rebirth, I would say, though. Or EZA. Damn it! But I'm not going to do that. So there are some that I am going to highlight, some I'm not going to. But other than that, I will say these types of cards, the ones that are in the Bob shop, they're just not great. I would like to see them get some sort of EZA just to make them better. But the first card on my list is Majin Vegeta. So Majin Vegeta, basically, again, same thing as a Raleigh, actually. Once upon a time was the best attack all enemies types unit in the game. Now, here's the deal. I can list a million units, and I'm sure there's going to be at least one of you guys that'll be like, I still use that character. I still have success with that character. That's awesome. Just to be 100% honest, it doesn't mean they're good. So, if you still use Majin Vegeta, more power to you, but he is not good, and he hasn't been for quite some time. So, leader skill. I'm not really going to talk too much about leader skills, but I will say he's probably going to get a 2 or 3 key 50 or 70% bonus to all 3. We have a few examples recently, such as the GT AGL Trunks, I believe, and the Family Kamehameha Goku, who's a good example of the ways those leader skills will work out. So, mass damage, if you don't know what that is basically the equivalent to extreme. Again, extreme damage hasn't been good in this game for a very long time. So I want to kind of liken him to a more modern version of a mass attack type unit. And we have Piccolo. So Piccolo has supreme damage innately, also has a chance to stun the enemy. I want to kind of point that out because Majin Vegeta does the same thing. He has a rare chance to stun all enemies, which means it's actually worse. You can really see how the game has changed. 15% versus 25% for Piccolo. Piccolo also has double the natural attack boost and 100% defense, which Majin Vegeta does not have. Also, Piccolo picks up self-sufficiency and an additional 30% to both stats when facing 2 or more enemies, which is phenomenal because he's literally built for the World Tournament. That's it. Just literally, right? So he's able to get everything he needs, and he can even stun. He's amazing, right? So how would they rework Majin Vegeta? I don't really think that he needs self-sufficiency. You can literally make this card, on a side note, a carbon copy of the other one, and he's fine, right? In fact, probably better due to access of links. Like Super Saiyan is pretty common, of course. You know, Saiyan Warrior Race, decently common. Saiyan Pride is decently common. You know, you can probably make more use out of this character and then the categories, right? But what I would say is you can give him 100% attack and defense at the start of the turn. I think that has to be basically the baseline. If not that, 90% if you want to consider in any other additional boosts and or the links as well. But let's just start off from 100%. And then other than that, when it comes down to the secondary part of the passive, a couple of ideas. They can add in self-sufficiency. Again, I don't necessarily think he needs it, but I will say another modern example, actually, while we're on it, of a unit that can hit all enemies is the Physical Broly. Again, another unit that does supreme damage minimum wherever he's at. Where is he at? Hello, there you are. So Greatly raises attack as well. Oof. And still supreme damage. Again, these cards all have self-sufficiency. So I guess the Majin Vegeta would basically get it. I think you almost have to give him self-sufficiency because it's the new norm. Because what that does is it allows you to run those nuke-type leaders without any sort of drawback, right, in the World Tournament if you want to do that. So you would have to give him something like that and probably some sort of additional attack boost. Maybe when versus a specific enemy or something of that nature, like a Goku's lineage or Goku's family, right? So that works. Moving on. Actually, maybe I don't know. There is no Majin. I mean, you could say Majin Buu Saga or Transformation Boost, I guess. I don't know. Anyways, moving on, though. Another unit that is incredibly old was this one. That was funny because he once upon a time was basically the worst card in the game alongside Oob, who may or may not be in this list. So once upon a time was the worst card in the game. Got a rebirth, and I remember everyone fawning over this card, talking about how amazing he is post-rebirth. But of course, time isn't kind to units, especially with flat boost passives. So he is obviously, as you would expect, pretty trash now. All types leader skill, at least 3 key, 50%. I think that's very easy to kind of point out. There are some examples. I don't want to get into that for every unit, though, but there are some examples of units that have had that exact leader skill and gotten pretty solid awakenings to it. Moving on, mass damage again, changed to supreme. That's all I asked for. 20% up to 30%, maybe 2 turns. I may or may not have, just on a side note, I may or may not have a what-if EZA for this card, because I actually really like this card. Looking at his art, I was like, yeah, I might want to do that. I may or may not, but I don't want to give out all the goodies in case I do. So I don't think he needs a change from flat boost to percentage-based, but what you can do is you can make it to where it's 25, 30K, whatever the case is, and then add in some sort of secondary boost for versus a number of enemies, like 2 enemies or more, almost like Piccolo, right? And that's perfectly fine. One thing I will say about this card that's really cool is his link set and his categories. So he has Hybrid Saiyans. Hybrids generally would like to have access to characters that have shocking speed because they're freaking leader. But, I mean, otherwise, everything else here is fine. Prepare for Battle and Shattering the Limit is a really, really potent duo of links. On Time Travelers, he has access to some good units, including, but not limited to, other Trunks cards, right? Which means that he'd be able to proc things like Royal Lineage, Cold Judgment, and or Messenger from the Future, and or Shattering the Limit and Prepare for Battle. Like, this card has a really good list of categories, despite being only a few, Vegeta's family as well, and a very good chunk of links. Like, he's easy to use, so I would say that. Speaking of, whoa. You are not supposed to be here. Oh, okay. I was getting ahead of myself. No, we're not easying Oob yet. All right, so, well, that Oob. We're going to do this Oob. So another unit that was pretty bad upon release. Well, he was decent upon release. Aged poorly, then was horrible, was one of the worst units in the card, if not the worst, and then got a rebirth and got really good, and then is no longer so great anymore. Supreme damage lowers enemies' attack. Please add in either a great reduction to attack or attack and defense. Just lowering that is fine. That makes it fine. Leader skill, again, I'm not going to talk too much about those anymore. So when above 30%, he gets 7,000 attack and defense. Again, I'm not the one to say you immediately have to do away with flat boost passives, but I think in the case for this card, you probably would want to. And even if you just port it to being from 7,000 to being 70 or 80% at the start of the turn, and or give him an additional bonus versus like Shadow Dragon Saga enemies, he's fine, right? But what I would like to see what happens with this card is make him a card that synergizes very, very well with his LR counterpart. Now, LR Majub, or LR Oob Teen, to be more specific, is a good card in certain scenarios, right? Like, he's kind of hard to use. His link set changes a lot post, transformation. He changes 4 freaking links. But in this state, if you can actually pull this off, he becomes really good, right? So otherwise, he's got very specific links like Infighter, Revival, just stuff you wouldn't regularly see too often. But at the bare minimum, having GT and then other stuff like that makes him pretty good. But what I would say is that for the STR one, hopefully they add some sort of orb production into his passive, because that would synergize very, very well with this card here. Plus 2 key per rainbow, and he already produces rainbows and stuff. So hopefully they do something like that. And now we take a look at another Buu-type character. This is actually pure evil Majin Buu, the Gray Buu. So this guy here is pretty interesting. Examples for leader skill changes. Look at characters, like I mentioned earlier, that do 3 leader skills and so on. So he's already kind of got a chunk in there. He's probably going to get 70%, to be honest. He's not losing 3 key. Probably get 70%. So supreme damage and raises attack by 50% for 3 turns. So he's got a nice stack. I would say make this 6 or 9. 9 is very uncommon, but make it 6 or 9. Let me see how uncommon 9, in fact, is. So if we come down here, so triple stack. So here's 6 turns. Units that have a 50% raise for 6 turns. Only 1 unit in the game can get a quintuple stack. So only 1 unit raises for 9 turns. And he's a support unit, so likelihood of Buu getting that is probably not so good. So probably 6. Another flat boost unit. Do you see a trend here? But he already had 18,000. Now, please do away with this. Please do away with this. Please do away with that. That just please go away. Go away. I don't like those. I hate those. Please do away with that. Just, if you're going to give it 99% or below, please just give the unit no restriction. That is incredibly stupid. The ones I hate more than this are the ones that are like when below 50% or something stupid like that. I hate every single one of those. Even the LRs. I hate every single one of those. They suck. But this one is the best way you can do the or below, because it's literally basically if you get a single nut tap, you go, it activates, right? A single nut tap, it activates. So you're good. And I'm not crazy, right? It is 50%, right? I just got to double check real quick. Yeah, 50%, I knew it. Again, there's a lot of flat boosts. Just make it 50k attack, 20k defense. I think that's exactly what Mass Saiyan has. And for a Rebirth that also stacks attack, I think you can do away with it and be good. I don't think he needs anything else. I think that's really it. And then you have a unit here that links pretty well with every other Majin Buu in the game because he has a freaking 15% boost here that's just chilling. He also has Nightmare. He has all these other links that are like Majin. Please, yeah, he doesn't need much. He's got a lot of attack links. Holy crap. They're all attack links. But that's the thing about most Majin Buu cards in the game. They're just flooded with attack links, and they all synergize super well because of it. His key multiplier is trash, so maybe you make it 55k or something like that, but just to kind of offset that a little bit. But I don't think he needs much else. Now, another unit that might need a lot of work. See, like, back in the day, man, they loved flat boosts because it was really good for the time. It was really good. Supreme damage, supreme damage at least. The reason why I don't jump to immense, though, is because there are only, I know of only a couple Rebirth cards off the top of my head, which is this Goku, who is hilarious because he was one of the first Rebirths. I remember back around this time, they were either holding a poll or like a post or something like that to let us decide what characters would Rebirth first and stuff like that. And just, they don't do that anymore. They just obviously just go. But he picked up immense, but he had no way to use it. That's why he got immense, right? And then physical Kale has it. There aren't many, right? So most cards, 99% of them will have just Supreme. So I'm not even bothering trying to go higher than that. So I will say Supreme and raises attack and defense. You know what I would like to see is raise attack and defense indefinitely. Do it. Just do it. So you can leave the... So if you're going to give him that, make it to where it's 3 key. He keeps the 3 key because I don't think they take anything like that off. 2,500 attack, change that to maybe 50%. Also give him a defense bonus when launching a super attack. And I'm just throwing out random stuff. I think that's pretty solid. I think that's solid because he'd stack nicely. I think he'd stack nicely. Like, I'm trying to make these cards good, but not like busted, you know? So that's me. But I'll say that maybe 70% attack and 50% defense. Do it. Gohan. So the funny thing about Gohan and Trunks, because they're both on my list, is they are basically the same unit. They rebirth in the same chunk at the same time, and they are literally both in Super Saiyan Hybrid Saiyans. But here's the funny thing. If you know how they work, they are the same unit. Here's why, but Trunks is better. So both do supreme damage. Both have 3 key leader, or 3 types of, leader skills, right? HP and attack, 25%. Gohan has those 3. Trunks has a different combination. We come here, passives, key +4 and attack +2,500. Trunks is 2,500 attack and 2 key at the start of the turn. Already 2 key less. But Gohan has a restriction when HP is 50% or above. I mean, 50% or above is a lot easier to maintain than 50% or below, so I'll take that. But where things change up a little bit is in the Link set. Gohan actually did not have Prepare for Battle, but Trunks did. So 4 key technically there, right? No restriction, so Trunks is a little bit better, but you can see what they were doing. They did that on purpose. They made them basically the same card. They were incredibly lazy. So my changes for both of these cards are going to be largely the same thing. I just realized they're all basically flat boost cards. That wasn't planned. But Supreme Damage also raises attack on Super greatly. I will say greatly raise. Make him an 80% 4-key attack. 4-key, 80% attack when HP is 30% or above, I would say. And then other than that, you could give him a boost for defense per orb obtained, maybe like 10% per orb obtained. I think 10 might be too much, but 10% per orb obtained would be a nice way to make the unit a little bit diverse into something a little bit different. So Trunks is, I'm going to say, again, 2 key is fine because of the rest of his passive, or his links and stuff. He has access to prepare for battle, he has Golden Warrior, he has Super Saiyan, he has Royal Lineage, he has Shadow the Limit. Those are really common links, right? So he doesn't really need anything else. 2 key is perfectly fine because he's already going to auto super on every team he's applicable to, basically. But what you can do is, again, 80% attack. But what I would say is give him 80% attack and defense at the start of the turn, and maybe give him an extra increase in attack of like 20 or 30% when versus either, I'd say probably a time traveler category enemy. I think that'd be fair, you know, for Cell, for the versus Cell, even though it's really androids. So maybe I'd say versus androids. Maybe that works, an android category enemy. So very easy. We take a look at Majin Buu here. Now, Majin Buu is interesting because he recovers HP by 25% when HP is 40% or below. 25% when 40% or below, all things considered, really isn't too bad. It's one of the better ones among these cards, I would say, because it's very potent, although it is quite hard to get down there. The only other card that's even recent that has a similar type of restriction is the EZA Cell, who when 30% or below heals you by 20% only, but he has a lot more that he does, right? He does a lot for you as far as like stacking attack and the start of the turn boosts and stuff, so that's just kind of a last resort for him. Other than that, we have the new Zamasu, who below 70% or below 80% is healing a decent chunk basically always when he shows up. So Majin Buu, I don't really know if he needs to change this. I don't think going any higher than 40 fits the theme of this card, I would say. I don't think it matters too much. Like, it's nice, but I think 40 is good. It's a lot better than 30, which it was prior. You could go up to 50. You could go up to 50, but that might be overdoing it, I would say. That's why I'm kind of apprehensive of that. So what you can do is HP plus 30% when HP is 40% or below. Heal 30% instead of 25, and I think you're fine. Now, he has nothing that he does for, and by the way, supreme damage and greatly lowering defense, very easy patch to the super attack. He has nothing else that he does as far as having defense or attack. You can actually make this card just like Majin Buu from the show and make him a tank type unit. You just make him a tank. Now, he's the first unit on here that I'm suggesting maybe not getting too much attack. I think he needs some attack just to be relevant, but he does have a ton of attack links. The Majin Buu characters don't have too many units that actually can just sit there and take a hit. So you can give him a chance to guard against all attacks, give him a start of the turn, a solid start of the turn attack and defense boost, and then also maybe some sort of defense bonus per Majin Buu Saga ally on the team or something of that nature, and you're good. All right, as we wind down, this one actually kind of hurts me because I love this card. I love this freaking art. I love this character. I love this scene. I love all of it. This card is so cool. But I think he has so much wasted potential right now. I remember when he didn't even, wow. It's only been like a year and a couple months on Global. Holy crap. I didn't even know that. It hasn't even been that long for this card on Global. But it was so much prior to JP. That's why, because I was playing JP and it feels like it's been so long. It's been way more than a year. He has a lot of potential, right? The leader skill just go 3 and 70. He already has one of the more modern versions of this type of leader skill anyway, because he's not that old, right? He's probably the most recent unit we've looked at. Supreme damage and raises attack for 3 turns is fine, I would say, but if you really want to make him good, 6 turns, because that way he holds his attack just a little bit longer. So this can just go up to 100% at the start of the turn. He does need defense. That's the thing. I've tried to make it to where every unit has attack and defense because you just need it nowadays. You're not going to be good in harder content if you don't have defense, right? So what you can do is, see, I understand why he's an attack unit because of the scene. I haven't tried to relate scenes too much to why cards have their passives in this video. But also, he's trying to protect Videl. So I would say, well, I mean, he's a little bit late. He's trying to avenge her, basically. Leave no friend behind is a perfect name for this, by the way. I would say he does. I think it would be interesting if you gave him a chance to guard against all attacks. I really like that idea with Majin Buu. I think it would be interesting if you have that here. And if you look at his link set, this is such a phenomenal. This is probably like, I don't know about top 10, but it could be top 10 overall link sets on a unit. Like, this is a really good versatile link set. He has Golden Warrior, which is very common, Super Saiyan as well, Shocking Speed. He's one of the few units, I would say, that has Shocking Speed and Prepare for Battle, there aren't too many of those units, right? There's not too little, but there's not too many of them either. He has Hero of Justice, which is a 25% link, albeit not super proccable, but it's still solid if you ever can get him with some of these newer units or whatever the case is, and or the LR grade Saiyaman card. It's just bonus, very potent attack, and Kamehameha is there just for added bonus damage. So give him some sort of defensive mechanic. I'm not 100% sure what that would be, but he'd be fine otherwise. Last unit here, the poster unit. You guys saw him on the thumbnail. I already talked about him a little bit prior. This guy is so interesting to me because I remember his initial release and being so hyped to try to get the initial unit. And the rates were so bad back then. They were like, I think that was still when they were below 3% or about 3%. So it was not easy. It took a lot of money and luck. So being a unit that bonus is key, I can actually pull this up, but doesn't do anything else. It just doesn't fly anymore. If you're going to be a support type unit, you 100% need something else in there. You can't just be a support type unit. You either need to offer crit chance, you need to have some sort of built-in defense like dodges. Like if we look at another really meta, really top tier support type unit, raises 3 and 40%. For one, I would say give him, instead of just these two, give him all types, please, because there's no reason to have this anymore. He was very Tekken STR specific at the time. Just give him all types 3 key. If you want to leave it this way, if you're going to leave it restricted, make it 4 key. Make it 4 key if you're going to leave it restricted. Also give him 30 or 40%. Honestly, I'd say 40% just out of respect for the unit and that he does have immense, and why not capitalize on him and make him as good as possible, right? Also, instead of just immense, allow him to either increase the ally's attack by 30% for 1 or 2 turns, or give him an indefinite raise of defense or a great raise for 1 turn. One of those 3 I would like to see. And then other than that, again, 30% attack and defense. A defense type raise on the super attack means he doesn't really need a start of the turn defense boost. So you can just give him 80% at the start of the turn to attack, and he should be fine otherwise, and he'd be very relevant in the meta, especially because of the link set that he has. Again, very versatile link set. And then the key support, right? Key support's either going to be for all types or Tekken STR, which means you could just run him alongside a tech unit, and he'd be phenomenal, right? Alongside any tech unit, he'd make them so much better if they need key, like especially like Tekken STR LRs. Perfect, just perfect, right? So Golden Warrior, Saiyan Warrior Race, Super Saiyan, Kamehameha, Infighter, right? Prepare for Battle and Shatter the Limit, another unit that has that duo. It works perfectly. But I would say maybe still give him at least 40% defense. You can give him 80% attack, 40% defense, a defense raising super attack, 3 or 4 key, depending on if you're going to keep the type restriction on the passive. And other than that, 30 or to 40% increase to specific key support. So anyways, have an awesome day, everyone. Thank you all for tuning in. If you guys enjoyed today's video, hit that subscribe if you are new, and I'll catch all of you guys in the next one.